Welcome students to Grow with Biology. Today's topic is food spoilage. So what is food spoilage? Food spoilage is a process where the food quality is deteriorated and it cannot be edible. So we can't eat a spoiled food and it is prohibited for consumptions. Actually happens in food spoilage. There are some microbial activities, there may be some chemical reactions or environmental conditions due to which the food has been spoiled out. Now what are the causes of food spoilage? First cause is biological factor, second is chemical factor, third is physical factors. Now what is biological factor? Biological factor comprises of two important categories. First is microorganism, which can affect the quality of food, and the enzymatic activities due to which the food may be spoiled. Now when we talk about microorganisms, there are bacteria, molds and yeast. Now bacteria are the most common cause of food spoilage. Bacteria can eat the food, grow on the food, and they cause foodborne diseases. The most common bacteria which causes food spoilage are Pseudomonas, Bacillus and Lactobacillus. When we talk about molds, fungus are the category of molds. These molds can produce mycotoxins. As they are toxins, so they are harmful for health. Most common examples include the species of Aspergillus and Penicillium. Can also spoil the fermented food by fermenting the sugars. Excessive fermentations and it can result to production of alcohol and carbon dioxide. So yeast contamination in sugarious food or high carbohydrate food is most. Now we talk about enzymatic activity. Enzymes are of two types, endogenous enzymes and exogenous enzymes. Now endogenous enzymes are basically present in the bacteria or the enzymes which are naturally present in the food. Now when they are naturally present in the food items or the vegetables or fruits, then when they are active they will start the degradation. Suppose butter or cheese have a lipase activity. Lipase activity will degrade the lipids which is present in butter and cheese. So once the lipase activity is activated, then the butter and cheese quality will get deteriorated and it will convert to a rancid product. If we talk about the exogenous enzymes are produced by microorganisms. Suppose a milk or glass of milk is contaminated with microorganism, then the microorganism will secrete some enzymes which will help in degradation of the content of the milk, and indirectly the milk will get deteriorated or the quality of the milk will be deteriorated. So this is enzymatic activity. Next comes the chemical factors. Now there are three types of factors. One is oxidation, light and heat reactions, as well as moisture content. We will see one by one. Now first is oxidation. Now what is oxidation? Oxidation is exposure to oxygens. When these food items are exposed to oxygens, they get oxidated, and due to which there is change in the quality of the product. If the fats and oils get oxidized, then it will become rancid. If the fruits get oxidized, then they may result to production of some other chemicals which are not palatable or consumable. When we talk about the light and heat reactions, same in case of fats and oil. If we increase the temperature or it is exposed to light sources, then there may be some reactions which can start automatically and due to the exposures of light and heat, which may result in changing the quality of the food product. moisture loss. Some water is present to a little extent in every food items. So if water is lost, that moisture is lost, then the quality of the food product will become spoiled, or the texture will change. This may change the quality as well as the consumability of the food product. Now next comes the physical factors, which will include the mechanical damage as well as the poor storage conditions. When we talk about the mechanical damage, it means if we are cutting it, crushing it, or if any fruit item is dropping from the plant and it get hampered with the soil, so that these are mechanical damage which may cause the entry point for the microorganisms and will cause food spoilage. Poor storage conditions, if it is very humidified air or it is not airtight, it must be temperature controlled, otherwise the microorganisms can easily grow. So these are the physical factors which we are talking about in food spoilage. Now the stages of food spoilage. First is the initial deterioration, when the food quality is starting deteriorating. This is very primary steps. Many persons cannot identify the steps even. Now moving to the early spoilage. Now when we talk about the early spoilage, there is slight change in the color or the appearance. The freshness is lost. There may be addition of some odors which will give you an indication that the food has started spoiling. Now the advanced spoilage, where you can find the growth of microorganisms on the food item. Either the texture is slimy or there is visible modes. As you can see in the breads, there is aspergillus growth. So all these, if it is in a visibility phase, then it is known as advanced spoilage. Severe spoilage is where the food has been completely spoiled, the texture has been lost, and there is a pungent odor, and it is very hazardous if consumed. Next is the common types of food spoilage. The food spoilage in dairy food products, meat and poultry, fruits and vegetables, and baked goods. First comes the dairy products. Now when we talk about the dairy products, there is souring, rancidity, or the mold growth. Souring means there is fermentation due to the presence of lactic acid bacteria, which results in production of lactic acid. As due to the production of this acid, the taste is sour. In case of butter and cream, we can find that there is rancidity, the breakdown of butter and cream, which is very unpleasant, and the flavor is also changed. Mold growth, we can see that in cheese or in butter, if there is growth of molds, that is the fungus growth. In case of moisture content is increased, then the texture of the cheese or the butter changes. It becomes very soft. So this is the symptoms for dairy product spoilage. Now when we talk about the meat and poultry products, that is the breakdown of the protein by bacteria. When these proteins are break down, it gives a very pungent smell of ammonia or a high sulfur content or hydrogen sulfide. And if you talk about the textures, you will find that it is very slime, very sticky, and very smelly, and it must be improperly packed, so there is contamination of bacteria. So meat and poultry, the important word which you have to include in your answer is putrefaction. Next comes fruits and vegetables. When we talk about the fruits and vegetables, there is fermentation, there is softening and rotting, because there are some bacteria which can convert the carbohydrate present in the fruits and vegetables into carbon dioxide and alcohol. So there is fermentation reactions, and the fruits get softened due to the breakdown of the cell walls and the leading to the mushy structures, and it helps in the growth of mold. When we do food, the baked food, we find that the mold growth is very much present in it, because the cakes and breads are very moisturous. Then we talk about the staling. The staling is a physical process where the bread lost its moisture and becomes hard, and the taste is also very bad. So by these symptoms you can identify that there is problems of food spoilage. Now we are talking about the factors affecting the rate of spoilage. First factor is temperature. Now cold temperatures basically slows down the microbial growth as well as enzymatic activity. So it is always asked to preserve the food items for long-term preservation either in refrigeration or by freezing. So both the process where we lower the temperatures, in both the cases it helps in reduction in microbial growth as well as enzymatic activity. So the room temperatures of the house as well as the storage plays an important role in the factors of spoilage. Second is humidity. Humidity is basically favorable for mold growth. So in case of preservation, we have to keep in mind that the food must be dehydrated to an extent where it does not change the taste and texture of the food, but the content of humidity gets lower. Now third is pH. In acidic pH inhibits the growth of many bacteria. So all the more the acidity, the slower is the spoilage. So if we talk about a neutral pH or an alkaline food pH, then it will help in growth of bacteria, molds, etc. But higher or acidic pH will help in inhibition of the growth. Now when we talk about oxygen exposure will help in oxidation reaction, which will always lead to a spoiled food. So every times we want to save something or we want to preserve something, then we have to keep it in airtight containers so as to preserve the food for a longer duration. Now prevention of food spoilage. First is refrigeration, because it will slows down the microbial growth and the enzymatic activity. Canning and pasteurization, it is a technique where we kill the microorganism and inactivate the enzyme so as the food will be stored for long duration and there won't be spoiled. Salting, sugaring and pickling. Salting, sugar and pickling, all these they help in reducing the water or lowering the pH, which will help in preserving the food and will prevent food spoilage. Drying and dehydration, as if we are drying the product, then the moisture content is lost or removed to an extent which will inhibit the growth of the microorganism. Vacuum sealing, if it is vacuumly sealed, then there is no oxygen availability, which will prevent the spoilage. Now when we talk about the indicators of spoiled food, it will be visual changes. You can see that there is either presence of microorganisms or sliminess or drying out. There may be odor, the texture may be different, as well as the taste is always different. But first three categories are most important. If you have confirmed that it is spoiled, it is better not to taste and do the checking. Now the health risk of spoiled food, it will cause diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, abdominal cramps, fevers and neurological symptoms if it is very much poisonous. So we can conclude it by few lines that the food spoilage is a natural process, but and we have to understand which food is spoiled so that we do not consume it, and we have to follow the safety guidelines so that we can take care of our health. Thank you.